Hey everybody, welcome. Landmark Live is back. You thought we were gone forever, didn't you? We are not. We are here. I tell you what, just when you thought it was safe to get back on the internet, the guys from Landmark Live are back to harass you. I hope you missed us as bad as we missed you. Chris Kamler and Brad Carl are both absent tonight. They're playing in a pickleball tournament, I think, down in North Kansas City. We'll check in live with them later, but tonight we have two special guests. We'll get to those in just a heartbeat. First, I want to tell you, we have a live sponsor this evening, Dr. David Lowry. If you need a doctor for your child, the answer is Dr. David Lowry of Platte County Pediatrics. Same-day appointments are available. Dr. Lowry is a board-certified pediatrician with 19 years experience, with the last 12 years right here in Platte City. He cares for children from St. Joe to Kansas City and beyond. Call 816-858-5252 or check him out at PlatteCountyPediatrics.com. Thank you, Dr. Lowry, and thanks to our very special guest tonight. People have been asking me all week, how did you get Todd Graves to come on the show? Frankly, I don't know. But we do have a very special guest, former Platte County prosecutor, former U.S. Attorney Todd Graves. Todd, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
And the crowd goes wild.
Thank you.
No. Todd, let me ask you, how did you agree to come on the show? I mean, what?
I tried to think of an excuse and I couldn't come up with
Right.
one, so I was cornered.
After I asked him for months and months, he finally gave in. You guys, Todd, what have you been doing?
Just got 4 kids and stay busy with that, and
Yeah,
still married.
Still married? That's
And
good.
That's good.
When Todd was prosecutor, he started having kids, and we started a tradition. He would bring the newborn in, and we'd take a picture, and we'd put it on the front page. But then he started cranking out the kids so fast we couldn't keep up, so we eventually lost.
You got them all. One of them didn't make the front page, and he still kind of resents that. But
Which one was it that got shorted?
I think it might have been the third one.
The third one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we bring him in sometime.
Okay.
All right, we'll get him on the front page. So now you are chairman of the Missouri Republican Party for a short time remaining. How long you been chair?
Two-year term, and I've got about a week to go.
Week to go. Now, why are you giving that one up, Todd?
It's a volunteer job, and you get to get criticized a lot and be in the middle of it, and that's only fun for so long.
Did you ever get criticized while you were prosecutor?
Frequently.
Frequently.
Yes.
But not
It was always unfair.
unfair criticism. Who were you criticized by? Basically the defense attorneys then, or
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Scott Campbell's a little rough on me a few times.
Campbell's a bad man. You know, we've tried to get Campbell on the show.
Yeah, I understand that.
He's camera shy, I think, but he comes to sit in the audience occasionally, but never comes on camera. He's a little camera shy.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, you may have met our next guest as well. This guy wanted to be on the show with you. Well, I've talked to him several times. He said, I'll only come on again if Todd Graves is on.
Really?
So, yeah. So we're going to bring in our next guest. He is current 2nd District Platte County Commissioner, John Elliott. John, welcome to the show.
Hello,
Hey, sir.
Looks like Johnny Carson.
Here's Johnny.
I'm getting slid down the couch there.
Hang in there. Hang in there. Guys, by the way, hit like or share the video, and you've got a chance to win some tickets tonight. And these are good ones, too. These are actually tickets to Rodney Carrington down at the Ameristar. You'll want those. And, sometimes we give away some junk tickets. These are actually good tickets.
Yeah.
So jump in there, hit like or share the video for your chance to win. John, what's going on at the county?
Well, not too much these days, Ivan. We're just sitting around waiting for things to do.
Yeah.
Phone to ring.
Not much going on over there.
No, not much at all. We obviously got the budget finalized this week, and now we've moved on to other topics of importance. And
Oh.
Yes.
Are there more important topics?
Well, I might share that with you later, or
Later.
now, whenever
Well,
you want me to share.
Let's tease that. There might be some breaking news coming out later in the show, so stick around for that.
Call your friends.
Call your friends. Hit like or share this video, but immediately call your friends. Tell them John Elliott might have some breaking county news for you on Landmark Live, which you can only find at Platte County Landmark on Facebook. Guys, now we've known each other a long time. I think I first met John in '92. Was it 91,
90 or
93?
92, somewhere.
Yeah, might have been 90 even. But John, I had some Chiefs pictures hanging in my office. I didn't know who this guy was. He came walking in the bank one day. He started looking at the Chiefs pictures up on the wall. There's a picture of a cheerleader, one of the Chiefs cheerleaders. He looked really closely at that one. And he made a couple of comments, and I said, to myself, I'm gonna like this guy. And that was my first experience with John Elliott, but he liked one of the cheerleaders pictures that we had. And so John and I became friends. He worked caddy corner from the Landmark over at Wells Bank, and we saw each other frequently. We soon found out we were the only two Republicans in Platte County at that time, and that's, we kind of
Admitted.
it's only two confessed Republicans at that time. And that quickly changed, and it changed in part in 1994 when Todd Graves ran for prosecutor.
I did.
Tell us about that campaign.
Well, that was, as we said before, that was 2 jails ago. But I did my part in
Shots fired, shots fired.
I'm joking. It was, you know, I was a young guy, 28 years old. My family was, had family roots in Platte County, but I hadn't been here a long time. I've been here 25 years now, and raised my family here. But I decided that I was going to run against the incumbent, and I was able to pull that off. It was a good year for Republicans.
You did. Now, what was the key to victory? The incumbent at that time was Vic Peters, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, Vic's a good guy.
Yeah. Now, you ran a very well-financed campaign, did you not?
I did, and that was when direct mail was still not really being used, and we used it pretty effectively. Although now you have direct mail firms, you use companies that tell you what images work the best. We wrote it in our basement. I mean, and Elliot was there. I mean, we just kind of put it together, and we sent a lot more mail. And you know, it was a non-incumbent year. It was the year of the contract with America, and we were able to win that.
Mm-hmm. Now, did this guy help you out a lot?
He did.
Okay.
He did. One of the first guys I met when I came here was John and Julie, his wife.
Yeah. Now, John, had you developed the software by that time to target the specific voters that you wanted to target, or was that still too early in the process?
That was still early. Todd opened my eyes to that world because he had some software he was using or looking at using then.
Yeah, I think it was index cards or something. Yeah. But
Software index cards.
We were using something called phone mail then, which was a very early version of what they use today.
Yeah, and then I took that and with our direct marketing company, I saw how it could be used in Platte County in all kinds of campaigns.
Hmm. And so, John, at that time, were you on the Republican Central Committee by then? What year did you join that?
I believe I started on Central Committee around 92.
92.
Yeah.
And tell us about the early days, being one of the lone wolf Republicans on the Central Committee.
Well,
tell us how that process
Lone
worked.
wolf conservatives.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Well, it was interesting. They had a thing called weighted voting back at that time. So even though there might be 20 Central Committee members from the county who would be on this committee, your vote was determined by the number of, your vote on the committee was determined by the number of Republican votes in the previous presidential election. So unless you were from one of the 5 big precincts, townships in the county, you had no vote on anything going on. The good thing about that was that was determined at the beginning of every reorganization. So every 2 years in August at the first meeting, one of the first things you would vote on is what type of voting method you would use. In '94, because there were some new people in town in the county that got involved and filed for the committee. I visited with those folks before that August meeting, and I said, here's what your first vote's going to be. And nobody really particularly liked the idea of weighted voting. So we were able to vote it out, and it's never been back.
Nice. And then, was there a full committee at that time, or were you still struggling to find people to fill spots on the Central Committee?
Oh, you're always struggling to fill spots.
Yeah. So Todd, now you were one of the Republicans that won in Platte County that year. There were several, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, was that the year Betty was on the?
Yeah, Betty was on the ballot. Sandra Thomas. Oh boy, I'm kind of reaching back now. I don't remember. I don't remember who the. Well, the associate commissioners wouldn't have been on then.
Right. So it was Betty Knight one presiding that year.
Yeah, she did.
Actually, the associates used to be every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
they did.
Probably,
You're right.
They would have been.
And we won one of those.
So Michael.
Isaac Eskridge won one.
Okay, Michael
won
Short.
one.
Yeah, Michael Short. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that was a big Republican wave in '94, and then when do you guys think was the turning point? Then when did Platte County just go? When the power had kind of flipped from Democrat to Republican? What year do you think it was?
Well, I think it actually started in the eighties, when Republicans started moving into Platte County. But the actual flip, how long is it, 2 elections ago when no Democrats ran?
Right.
Yeah, although, you know, politics are just saying it's never as good as it seems, it's never as bad as it seems.
Right.
We're still a pretty competitive county. We certainly at the local level have been able to win a lot of races. But I don't even know if it flipped so much as maybe the parties flipped a little bit. I doubt if the average rural Platte County voter, certainly we have suburban areas that are newer, but they're voting for the same ideas they always voted for. They may not be in the Democrat Party anymore, they may be in the Republican Party, but they're basically the same ideas.
Right. Now, a good example of that, I guess, in the most recent election, Claire carried almost 50%, or very close, 49%, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's the first time she's ever lost Platte County.
Right, it was.
And she was from here. She was Josh Hawley didn't have a lot of relationships here, but that was one of my few perks as chair of the party. We weren't going to lose Platte County. we won a lot of races here. We put a lot of resources in here, and that's because I'd look at the map and say, fellas, what's missing? You forgot where I live, and we're not going to lose that county. And so we sent people over here.
That's awesome. You pulled it out of the fire.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but it was a bad Republican year, down Republican year, and you know, Platte County is not reliable necessarily on the statewide level, and we were able to win it. I think Blount lost it a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that was a good year.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, on the state level, Republicans did pretty well, I guess you would say, right? Under your leadership.
We did not, yeah. I'm going to claim credit because
Yes.
it went the other way. I'd be getting the blame, but we didn't lose a single net seat, which you look nationally, Republicans lost a lot of seats. It's just, you know, the tide comes in and the tide goes out to some extent, and we didn't lose a single net seat in the state legislature. We won probably the most important Senate race in the country, and we held basically everywhere. I don't think we lost at the county level. So compared to Kansas, you know, they lost a congressional seat, they lost the governor's race, and they lost some legislative seats, I think. So we were pretty happy.
John, okay, let's tease everybody again. If you haven't yet called your friends, now you need to be calling your friends. John Elliott is working up an announcement in his head.
Yes.
He says, look at it, this dress is kind of. He says,
new community center for Ridgely?
I think that's a pickleball court.
Right.
Ridgely. Brad and Chris are busy at a pickleball tournament tonight. We'll check in with them later. But let's talk a little bit about what you guys do in your spare time. Or actually, now, you both kind of have a farming background. Let's talk about Todd now. A lot of people don't know this. They think of you as a very sophisticated guy, but you're actually
they're
a farmer.
wrong.
You're actually a farmer / rancher in your real life, right?
Well, my dad's a full-time farmer, still farming. My younger brother Danny farms with him. That's the environment I grew up in. My dad's mom's family was from Platte County, so we live on a farm up by Ridgely that soon will be getting a new community center, I understand.
Pickleball court.
For about 151 years we've been there.
Nice.
And I've got a couple hundred brood cows, and I was an ag major in college, and it's kind of my roots, and I like doing it, and you know, it's a good business.
Yeah. Now, do you have a lot of animals on your farm? What do you got out there?
Mainly cows. We've got a couple of horses. We don't ride them very much, but we've got yeah, as I said, 200 brood cows, so they have
Okay.
about 150 calves, so 350 or so cows.
Now, John, you know a lot about farm animals.
I do. I grew up on a farm.
He just
yes.
borrows his. He doesn't own it.
Tell us about your farming background, besides the fact you own boots. Well, we know you own boots, right?
Yeah, I own lots of boots.
All right.
Grew up on a farm in Grundy County, hogs, cattle, crop, hay,
Kids.
kids. Yes, one horse that we didn't ride either.
What do you guys do with horses you don't ride? You just look at them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
it's one of those things
horse.
you want to do and you just never have time to do.
Right.
Yeah.
We miss old Ida Cox. Now she had horses.
She had real horses.
Yeah, she actually rode them, I think.
I think
Yeah.
she did. Yeah.
Pulled her carriages.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were into that.
Yeah.
That was
Doc
amazing.
McRae, remember Doc?
Doc.
Doc was my first campaign treasurer.
Was he really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Now, Okay, now, 94 you were opposed, obviously, because you ran against, you challenged Vic. Now, 98, I don't think you had an opponent, did you?
No, and I've done it both ways, and I like it better that way.
Yeah, it was easier.
Yeah.
Easier? Did John try to take credit for your 98 victory when you were unopposed?
He didn't, but he helped me a lot. I'll tell you, then in 2000, I was a Republican nominee for state treasurer,
Yeah.
which wasn't a good year.
Right.
Some years are good, some years are bad. And John drove all over the state with me. In fact, I remember we were driving somewhere, and I think that's the first year Platte City won the state championship. And we were, driving somewhere we didn't want to go late at night. We were listening to the game on the radio.
That's right.
Because I'm from Tarkio originally, and Chip Sherman, who used to be the coach,
Right.
was a student coach for my high school. He went to Tarkio College.
No kidding. Did not know
Brush with greatness, right?
Did not know that.
Yeah.
John and I, no, we never made a trip to any of those state championship games together. We made several trips together, but that wasn't, we didn't go to see the football game.
They didn't play in Vegas.
No, I guess not. That's one place I could never get John to go was Las Vegas. He refused.
Hey, I made it last year with my daughter to see a George Strait.
Oh, you went to
concert.
Vegas actually?
Yes, I'd do that again too.
Well,
Yeah.
you turned me down about 3 times. I quit asking. I was like, I'll find somebody that really wants to go.
That's the story, right? You never went to Vegas together. Okay.
No, we did
No,
not.
that's-
We went a lot of places we won't talk about,
Right.
but Vegas was not one of them.
I don't remember.
I don't,
I don't recall.
recall. Guys, if you need a doctor, hey, or your kid needs a doctor, Platte County Pediatrics is the place to go. We pride ourselves on being flexible and making sure we are able to care for your kids as soon as possible. If you call during regular business hours, there should be no problem getting your child in that same day. Dr. David Lowry is an experienced board-certified pediatrician. Call Platte County Pediatrics at 858-5253. Dr. David Lowry is a good dude. You guys know Dr. David Lowry?
Not well.
Okay.
I
well-
don't, but if I were a child, I would go there.
I would demand my parents take me there.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man. Big time sports fan and a big fan of the Landmark. And obviously a big fan of you guys because he's sponsoring the show, despite the fact you're
Yes.
on here.
Yes.
So, Todd, what's coming up in your life after you give up that Republican chair?
Just more
chairmanship?
the same.
More of the same.
You
You practice a little law, I've heard.
I do that occasionally, but contentedness is the enemy of politics,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty content. So that kind of takes the political fire a little bit.
I see. I see. John, are you pretty content these days?
Yes.
Okay. It took him a while to answer that.
Yeah.
John, John, you ready to make that announcement? Have we teased it enough?
That's up to you.
All right, let's do it. Let's go. What time is it, Sin?
6:18.
Go to the
6:18. Let's. You ready?
I think I am. I'm gonna get a drink of water.
Okay, let's both get a drink. John, do you need a drink?
I need harder than what you got here for this announcement, yeah.
Woo! Big announcement coming up here, everybody. Call your friends.
We got time to run down to the pool hall.
Party at the pool hall when this is over, I think. John Elliott, you have a.
Scott Campbell will be there, I understand.
Probably.
I think it's where I see him, that's where it is.
Well, that's a satellite office, I think. But, John, if you do have an announcement to make, now's a good time to do it. We're on camera live.
Okay, well, after several months of many hours of meetings, discussions, lots of research, if you know Dagmar, there's going to be a lot of research and a lot of questions. Ron and I, not quite as many, but yes, Monday there will be Tuesday, Monday's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so Tuesday at the administrative session, we will be entertaining ballot language for a sales tax, for a jail expansion and other capital improvements.
Just one ballot question?
Yes.
Just one, so is there an operations tax on the ballot?
No
too?
operations tax and no funding, no long-term funding of the debt funding of the project yet.
Give us more info on what the ballot language might say.
Well, it's going to say, we're going to ask the voters to approve a 1/2 cent tax for 6.25 years.
For 6.25 years, how much money are you looking to raise in those 6.25 years?
We estimate that at approximately $65 million.
65 million. That's a lot.
That is a lot of
Times
money.
are good in Platte County.
My goodness. And so all that would be jail indebtedness then, or all
No.
that? Okay.
No, obviously the largest portion is the jail, but that would also include money for the repayment of bonds if bonds are issued. But it includes improvements to the current jail. It includes improvements to the administrative building, the courthouse, the additional storage for equipment and evidence, as well as some repairs at the resource center.
Okay. Now, how many beds are you looking to add? What's the proposal on the jail specifically?
The proposals that we're looking at, that we've narrowed it down to, the minimum initial beds would be 180 approximately. I don't remember exactly right now. I've looked at a lot of numbers today.
Okay. 180 on top of what's already there, correct?
Yes.
So basically 150 to 180, depending on how you're doing the math. So close to 400.
180 and 180 would be what, 360?
Yeah, okay.
So on the same footprint?
On the same footprint or on very close proximity footprint. That's one of the issues, the details we haven't worked out yet. Because what it's going to boil down to is when we actually get into talking with the architect and the sheriff's department, which option is going to be operated the most efficiently, which makes more sense to go horizontal or vertical, which allows for the least amount of staffing to operate them.
Interesting. You got any questions for the commissioner?
No.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Oh, we do have a live audience, so they're very shy. But well, there you are, folks. If you have a question for Commissioner John, go ahead and type it in while we're on the air here. But we kind of wanted to focus on fun for the show tonight. I didn't know John was going to break
just
news.
bringing it down.
John is just kind of.
It's all business.
Yeah.
What is up with this? Man?
Footprint.
I got you to come on the show by promising you fun.
Yeah.
Man, now John's bringing us down with our tax questions and stuff.
But he is breaking it with you.
Well, we
There
appreciate
is
that.
that.
John. We appreciate the breaking news.
That's right.
Appreciate the breaking news. I honestly, folks, did not know that was happening when I asked John to come on the show. Just asked him because Todd was like, "Hey, we should get Elliot to come on and talk with us," and so we did. But and I didn't know John was going to break some news. That's awesome. Appreciate it. 0.5-cent sales tax on the ballot in April.
Yes.
All right, there you go. Look for more details in next week's Platte County Landmark. I'll save a spot on the front page for that, John. Thanks.
I'm sure you'll save several spots for
Well,
this next week.
There's a long time between now and April. We got a lot of fish. We got a lot of issues to put out. Well, let's get back to fun. Huh?
Yeah, let's do
Jeez.
fun.
I don't even know if I can.
Jails.
Can I go on after that? Todd, what are you going to do next? All right. You're currently working on a big lawsuit that we can talk about, so let's just float over that. You're working on a case for the county involving some Zona Rosa barns.
We're going down again.
Yeah, I got it. It's going to take me a while to get back up.
Okay.
It's going to
Talk
take
about
me.
cows.
Whew. There is one question. Will you rent out more space to Kansas City, Missouri criminals? That question for John Elliott came in on the Facebook.
No, we to answer that now?
Yeah, go ahead while we're a little depressed.
Yeah, no, at this point, there's no intention to rent out space to the Kansas City, Missouri criminals, except the Kansas City criminals that are causing crime in our county that we have to house.
I like the way that
Yeah,
question.
there are like 60% of Platte County is in Kansas City.
Yes, if ever there needed to be a wall, it might need to be around Platte County.
You know, when I first ran for prosecutor, that's when all the police, Kansas City police, used to still live in the southern part of the county. A lot of them live over by Liberty now, but I'd knock on a door and they'd be like, "Yeah, just blow the bridges." I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's not part of my platform."
I'm going to tell a story now. I'm going to tell a story on Todd Graves. I remember when they were building the first Platte County jail. How many jails have you been through now?
I was prosecutor 2 jails ago.
Okay, 2 jails ago.
Curious,
If you count
do you know the lifespan of those two by chance, Todd?
I don't. Yeah. I know Kenny Wilson was the jailer. He happens to be John's cousin.
Yeah.
And state rep.
And more than once, Kenny said to me, and I still tease him about this, "That guy's dangerous. We got to get him out of the jail." I say, "Well, Kenny, I'm pretty sure the dangerous ones are supposed to be
We
him."
want to keep him, Kenny. Kenny got his backwards. But when they were building, actually they were proposing to build the what we would consider the new jail. That's a couple of jails ago now, we're finding out. But Todd was in my office one time and he said, "You know what I told him?" He said, "I told him, if you build it, they will come."
Yeah.
So that's...
Only been a goodie.
So did Eric Zahn come to you guys and said, "Have you built a new jail? They will come"?
No, I don't recall Eric
Okay.
saying that.
I think he's already bringing them.
Jeez, they're already there, that's why we need to do this?
The nice thing with the old jail is they used to play basketball right below my office, and I could hear them talk about me. And I'm pretty sure they can't do
Nice.
that now.
I'm sure they were saying good things.
Yeah, they were.
They were saying good
We were
things, so.
friends.
Now, that jail had a 20-year life,
Yeah.
Todd, and the new one that you oversaw or worked with.
It was
in,
just around.
It's now 20 years old.
Time does fly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably 30% more people in the county now, I would guess, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Still only one landmark.
Thank God. Thank God it's one landmark. That's enough, right? So, Todd, let's talk about something fun.
Okay.
Missouri Tigers, their basketball team not doing so well. I know you're a big
Yeah.
Missouri fan. I saw
Yeah,
you down at the
I
Big 12
am.
tournament a couple of years ago.
I am.
Actually, it's been
I've
several
got 2
years.
kids there. I met my wife there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
I
talk
have
about
20
that.
relatives that went there.
That's good.
Yes, I'm a true son, as we say.
Well.
You're kind of a Kansas guy.
I'm
right?
kind of a KU fan.
Yeah.
No particular ties to the university, so I'm not really, doesn't mean as much to me as it
You
probably.
want to hear my beef with
Yeah.
the Jayhawks? We had border ruffians that would go over and do bad things in Kansas, and they had border ruffians that would come to Missouri and hurt people, do bad things. And that's
They
kind of
still
all
do.
behind us, but they named their basketball team after their border ruffians. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of,
And nobody knows what a Jayhawk is.
yeah. Well, it's
It-
someone that hurts, it's a kind of a terrorist.
Everybody thinks
actually.
it's just a big bird. So
You've heard-
it was a prehistoric terrorist.
You heard during that time that they hated each other so much, the Kansans would ride up to the border and throw sticks of dynamite across,
Yeah.
and the Missourians would pick them up and light them and throw them back.
Oh, that's a good one. I have not heard that one. John, let's talk about something fun. Chiefs game this
Chiefs.
weekend, John.
Yes,
Hey, I
Chiefs.
was telling Cindy a fun story. The three of us at one time, we were at a Chiefs game together. I don't know that we all drove together, but we were at a Chiefs game together all at the same time. We were in I think it was the Herzog Suite one year, and Kit Bond was in there. Do you remember this, John?
I do remember.
It
this.
is where
Yes.
it's where Elvis Gerback was
Yes.
quarterback, and Kit Bond. I think he may have had a drink that day. I don't know for sure. I didn't see him partake. But Kit was very anti-Elvis Gerback. I found out because I enjoyed a 20-minute conversation with Kit where he did nothing but curse Elvis Gerback. So, do you remember that day? Tom?
One thing I know about, I don't remember that, but
Yeah.
Kip Bond is, his father played for the Tigers
Really,
and was a Rhodes Scholar.
really.
Yes.
And now we have a bridge named after Kit Bond.
Yes,
Wow.
we do.
Lots of things named after Kit Bond.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that was happy.
Yes, one of my favorite senators.
I could tell. I'm pretty sure pretty sure. Now, John, and you and I, in fact, I think went down on the sideline. Were you with me on the sideline?
We were sideline photographers one day.
Sideline photographers. I think you had a disposable camera.
I did,
that
and
you used to-
they were looking at me pretty seriously, like I shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
You
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 were
were
right.
taking pictures though, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He said, "I'm with the landmark," and then so hey, they just
Yeah.
left you
I
alone.
kept
after
waiting
that.
for him to come out. No, that was a Polaroid, wasn't it? Yes.
Oh, good times. But hey, when you need a doctor, I'm sorry, when your child needs a doctor, go to David Lowry, Platte County Pediatrics, because he prides himself on being flexible and making sure he's able to care for your kids as soon as possible. Call Dr. Lowry during the day, by
Call
golly.
now.
Well, call him right now. He's not going to answer, but we
You have
probably
a
got
cell phone?
I do have a cell
Yeah,
phone.
give it out.
If you call during regular business hours, there should be no problem getting your child in to see our buddy Dr. David Lowry that same day. He's an experienced, board-certified pediatrician. You sometimes might run into him at the local wineries, just taste testing a glass of wine. I've run into him once or twice. Call him at the Platte County Pediatrics, 816-858-5253. Dr. David Lowry, good dude, fun dude. We've had him on the show before. We had him on during March Madness last year because he does a great job picking basketball games. I think last year he got last, didn't he, Linda? I mean, he was out early.
But you've discontinued that now, I read.
I'm not doing that anymore, guys. We might do a show where we talk about it, but I'm not going to grade brackets up until the wee hours of the morning anymore.
I've never entered that, but I'm a Missouri fan,
Well,
so
you
we don't
probably
really
thought-
follow basketball.
You were done with that
You
first
were-
round?
No, football.
John used to enter. In fact, when we first started, it was just John and I and a couple of people from Wells Bank, and I think a couple of people from Ida Cox's office jumped in it. There was like 10 or 12 people the first year we did it, and it just grew like nuts. A couple hundred people, and too many for one guy to grade
Yeah,
brackets.
it's just like your subscriptions.
Well, thank you. The circulation just
Yes.
grew. Just especially when the Republicans became so popular, and then it really took off like in '98 when there was a salary commission meeting, and they voted themselves a large pay raise, and a couple of attorneys stepped in and say, I don't think that's actually in line with the Constitution of Missouri, and so they had to do a revote.
The Constitution.
You probably remember something about that.
I remember that they decoupled my salary from all that, so I never had to vote.
You
on
didn't
it.
even go to the
I
meeting.
didn't
in
even
fact.
know.
Had you gone to the meetings, you could have stood up and said, "Hey guys, this will violate the state constitution." to take
Well,
this
I wasn't providing the legal counsel to the county on that issue. That was Mr. Robert Shaw.
I know, and I called you for an under the table attorney opinion, and in fact you gave me a quote on that. I think.
It did.
Yeah.
Did Scott Campbell give you a quote?
Scott Campbell said no comment when I called him, and I've called Scott about 37 times over the years. Do you know his favorite 2 words?
No
No
comment.
comment.
Do you know? Let's just keep tying this back to the University of Missouri. Scott and I were there together.
Oh yeah.
I knew Scott.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Well, you
So
guys-
I knew him back then. It was no comment too.
No Scott, no comment. Campbell is what they call him.
Yep.
But wow, I didn't know Scott was that young. You know, he's.
He's a couple years older than me, but not
Okay.
more than that.
Wow. Well, you both got those beards going on now. You look a lot older you look older than John and I. In fact, right, John? John and I are about the same age,
Yeah.
but we look like the youngest guys in the room.
Yeah, we went skiing and I just quit shaving this year.
That happens when you go skiing.
Yes, it does.
So, where did you go on a ski trip?
We went to Park City this year. Yeah. I learned to ski in Omaha, Nebraska, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm a way back skier.
Or a skier from way back.
Yeah.
In Omaha.
Yeah, North Omaha, there's a place called Crescent Hills. And we used to go up there when we were younger.
Huh. John, you do any skiing?
No,
You've been to Colorado though, I know you
I have been to Colorado, yes.
John and I spent a month in Colorado one weekend, and we got fogged in, and we were supposed to come back in 2 days, and we were out there a week. We were turning our underwear inside out and everything else.
And started trading them,
We
I think.
found it after we turned them inside out. Then we just traded, and so.
I can still hear that PA announcer, incomplete. And that was the
Yes.
whole afternoon.
That was the old Mile High Stadium. You remember it would shake. It was such a rickety old joint that would shake when the folks started cheering. You could just feel the stadium swaying. We were on the upper deck, of course, because we were Chiefs fans and didn't want to be identified as Chiefs fans, so we didn't wear any of our Chiefs gear. But
Well,
yes,
I hope the stadium's gonna shake this weekend.
this weekend, Sunday night, right? John, you going?
I'll be at church, but
Sunday night?
yeah, Sunday night church.
You can bring in a TV?
Well, I imagine we'll all be looking down
You-
while the pastor's
you-
preaching.
You'll
Yeah.
have Mitch Holtis calling the radio play-by-play in your ear. Big game. We've got the. Let's see. You know, Cindy, you might want to show them all of our Chiefs stuff because we didn't know anybody would want to talk Chiefs tonight. But that's a Joe Montana autograph photo. I took that of Joe on the sidelines in '93, and a friend of my wife actually took it and got it autographed. How about that?
Wow.
So I've never met Joe personally, but I chased him through an airport one time, and I also used to kind of stalk him on the sidelines when John and I had our little cameras down there. But there you go. We've also got a Derek Thomas picture over there. We've got a Marcus Allen. We are Chiefs fans here, guys.
You know, Derek's fatal crash was in Platte County.
Was it across the line? I knew it was right on the Platte Clay line. Was it 435?
You know, I thought it was in Platte.
It was real
seems
close,
like
right
I
there.
was prosecutor then. It seems like we had something to do with it, but I don't.
You
I'm
looked
getting
at it.
kind of fuzzy.
That was that the same day as the big wreck out
It
on
was
I-29?
big wreck at
Yeah.
Tracy.
Semis and cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Sad deal. Guys, has anybody tried to guess the prize that's in my pocket, Linda? In fact, I have a prize in my pocket. I did have a prize in my pocket. It's not there anymore. But the prize. Who chimed in with that question, Linda?
Gary.
Gary Pixler? Gary Pixler, since you chimed in with an important question, for John Elliott, you've got the prize tonight. 2 tickets to see Rodney Carrington at Ameristar Casino for asking the brave question about Kansas City criminals.
Well, I think since it was my news that prompted him to send the question, he and I ought to each get a ticket.
We'll go together.
Yeah,
You
we can
guys-
go together.
You'll be friends. He'll probably vote for the jail tax after spending the night with you. Maybe.
No, evening, maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, how about that? John, you like farm animals?
On my plate, medium. I like those animals medium.
Fun times. You can say anything to John. He doesn't get mad anymore.
Life's too
Public
short.
official.
Yeah.
Servant, public servant now.
Life's too short to get mad.
Todd Graves, hey buddy, thanks for coming on. What's coming up in your future again? I mean, anything fun?
It's more of the same, it's all fun.
Okay.
Take
John,
care.
John, we know what's coming up in your future. You've got a campaign to run.
Yes, we do. I'll be losing a lot of weight here in the next few months with all the people.
You gonna run the software on this? Figure out who the likely voters are on this deal. April, you're not a big fan of April elections. I know that.
Especially special elections. Definitely not a fan of special elections. And no, April. I'm not all that big on April elections.
Yeah. You got a special software though that's going to identify pro-tax voters?
No, I do not.
I bet you do.
No, I do not.
Pro law and order voters.
Everyone's a law and order voter, right? That's right.
Well, yeah, everybody.
Todd started it. He shouldn't have been so hard on all those criminals.
Yeah.
But John, your software normally only goes the anti-tax voters. You've got to reverse the software.
Boy, I know that. I know
Because
that.
I don't know how your computer is going to deal with
Yeah,
this.
probably can't.
It's going to blow up. Is what it's going to do. Guys, if you want to talk jail tax, John Elliott over at the county administration building. John, you want to give out your phone number?
858-3333.
No, the real one.
All right.
Now that goes to my cell phone.
Dude, that's it. Really?
Yes, it does.
You have it forwarded to the cell.
Direct my cell phone.
I'm impressed.
Dr. Lowry probably has his forward.
Dr. Lowry. I don't know how he's going to feel about a sales tax. But I'll read Dr. Lowry's commercial one more time because he's such a good guy. I'm giving him 4 reads for the price of 3 tonight. Doc, need a doctor for your child? The answer is Dr. David Lowry of Platte County Pediatrics. Same-day appointments are available. Dr. Lowry is a board-certified pediatrician with 19 years of experience, 12 of those right here in Platte City. He cares for children anywhere from St. Joseph to Kansas City and beyond. Call 816-858-5252 or check him out at PlatteCountyPediatrics.com. Thanks, Dr. Lowry. Hey, and thank you,
Thank
Todd
you.
Graves. That's
Yeah,
fun.
good to be
Good to
here.
see you. John, thank you for breaking the news.
Yes.
Guys, stay in touch. Read your Platte County Landmark every week. That's what I would recommend. And check us out on our social media sites at Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe by calling 816-858-0363. No show next week. Cindy and I are both getting a haircut next Thursday, so there's no show. Tell you what, we'll be back on January 31st, though, with a show from Patty Farr's new realty office out on Marshall Drive. It looks very hot.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll be there, Patty. We'll see you on January 31. Until next time, thank you, guys.